I'm back, week 2, on the same day. I told y'all it was gonna be around the same time, but we can push it up. Push it back because I don't even think we can push it up anymore based on just scheduling and things. We're gonna play around with the times as the week comes. But if you are here and you have gathered, you already know we are going to change my ostomy bag today. So while we wait for everyone to come in, I am going to get my supplies out. I have something that I think is really, really cool if you're an ostomy watching this back and you need to dump your bag. Even if you're wearing something loose, like I was cold today, so I put on this sweatshirt. I have a tight tank top underneath, and then you can just tuck the shirt in the tank top, and boom, nice access to dump your bag. I don't know how my stoma is going to be today, so I do have one of these like little pads to put underneath, so that we have no spillage. And I'll explain all of my supplies as I get ready to change this one, but for now we're just going to take everything out. Flange. Pouch. Cleaner, adhesive remover, deodorant. Hi everyone. If you're watching, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Let me put this back here. Barrier ring, trash bag. I have to get a trash bag. I'm going to use these ones because I already have these open. Ooh. I've only ever ripped one of these once trying to get them off, so I would say they're fairly durable. I always open these and I like to have it sitting in my sink while I'm changing my bag, so that we don't have a bunch of mess everywhere. Let me put my hair back. Sorry about that. I don't know what's going on there. Hi everyone. If you're coming in, make sure you like. How are you doing today? Let me know. It's Wednesday, middle of the week. Have you been having a good week? Do you hope the rest of the week is better? Let's put this on first, actually. This will just help. If you've been in my lives before, you know, sometimes the stoma can have a mind of its own. So this just helps protect my clothes from any spillage. Boom. Now we're going to prep a new bag. Be sure to like the live, guys. We help push ostomy education into the whole world. I don't know what that is. Stuck in the Velcro. And generally, rule of thumb, I'm still warming up because I did take a break from live for a bit, but I give you guys as much energy as you give me. So if I see the comments coming in, if I see the likes rolling in, I answer questions, I do a little bit more engaging. But if it's a chill night and you guys don't want to talk, I get it. We're just gonna have a quicker live. Clipping this in. This is the 2-piece clip bag. I'll post about it in the community. I did make my community tab active. If you guys want to subscribe, you should totally subscribe if you're watching. So you guys can like post in there and like talk, and it's almost like Discord, but without getting on Discord, which I think is cool because multiple platforms right now is too much for me. So if you're interested, that is there. But this is the Coloplast 2-piece click bag. I just put a post about this up on Instagram if you guys want to check that out. Really cool post. It just explains why I chose a 2-piece ostomy system over a 1-piece system. Thank you so much for the like, whoever just sent that. I appreciate you so much. This is a barrier. Before I put the barrier ring on, let's actually put some deodorant in this because I don't want to get any of the edges wet after I take that off because it'll make it harder to stick on my skin. So we're going to put this lubricating deodorant in first. If you're coming in, welcome, welcome. How are you doing? Be sure to like the live. If you've already done that, subscribe and share so we can push ostomy education out into the world. I like to move all of this around so that it coats the inside of the bag. Typically this lasts about 48 hours, and if you want it to last longer, you can put more in. I used to leave some of this above my toilet. So as I was dumping the bag from the bottom here, I can put more inside of it. It just helps with odor a lot. And it almost smells like Johnson & Johnson's baby lotion. It's like the closest smell, I think, to how this smells. Welcome, welcome. Thank you guys for coming in. Now we're going to use this barrier ring. The best way I can describe this as, it's like the putty system you use for plumbing. You put this putty around a pipe to make sure that the pipe doesn't leak, and it's doing the same thing for my ostomy. Thank you. I appreciate that, William. So we take this off. It's like a sticker. So this part is a sticky part that is going to be on your skin. Let's lay that down for a second. So I'm going to take this off. This is also kind of sticky, and it basically sticks more as it warms up with the heat on your skin. And I want to stretch the hole in the middle of this to be a little bit smaller than this hole right here. And I'll show you why in a second. How are you guys doing today? You're super quiet. I see you guys are there. My ostomy just farted. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I don't know if you guys hear my hand sticking to it, but it's like sticky. So yeah, that's going to be on my skin soon. But we are going to put this here. Lightly kind of tap it around so that it's on, but you don't want to smush it. And then since this hole is a little bit smaller, I'll be able to take the edges and curve it around the inside of the hole on my actual pouch. Sorry, I was talking while it was happening. Thank you. It is extremely serious, but I talk about it so that more people with ostomies wouldn't feel like they have to hide their ostomy. People like me, I'm going to have my ostomy for the rest of my life. And I'm relatively young. I am young. Not relatively young. I'm young. So better to start now. So hopefully we can have a little bit of change in my lifetime. And boom, that bag is prepped. The hole is now a little bit bigger than what it naturally is, but that's okay. We're going to set that to the side. Okay, I have my bag prepped to take this off. I have my trash bag. I set my trash bag like this in my sink, if anybody was wondering. We have all of my supplies. This is a wound cleanser spray. This isn't my favorite brand to use, but it's a decent brand. Medline adhesive remover spray, lubricating deodorant, and then you can use my favorite products to use to clean my skin are the soft dry gauzes. They're about this big and they can fold out into like a bigger square. If you scroll back to some of the earlier lives I did last year, you'll see me using those. But tonight I'm going to be using the Honest sensitive wipes, and you want to use a wipe that doesn't have any fragrance because you want to limit any possible chances of skin irritation. And then you want to use a wipe with no moisturizing agents because you don't want any residue to be left on your skin. Thank you. And I have a couple of those, so we're going to use those. And adhesive remover wipe, which is what the name does. And I'm forgetting one thing actually. Skin barrier wipe. This is going to prep the skin. I hope your dad is doing well. Yes, I'm doing well. How long has your dad been diagnosed? Thank you so much. So while I'm waiting for, if you guys respond to those questions, I'll respond. But while we're waiting for that to happen, I do want to offer the trigger warning right now. You're going to possibly see some intestines, some red bodily fluids. We don't say that word in this internet land, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Insides on the outside, essentially, but I'm not in any pain. This stoma, you guys, that's the name, like this little pink piece that's going to be sticking outside of my skin. My stoma was surgically placed, so I'm not in any pain. I am not hurting myself. I have to do this. It's a part of my hygiene routine, to put it very simply. So yeah, I'm not forcing you to stay around. If you don't want to watch that, that's perfectly fine. If you do want to watch it and you've heard my trigger warning, double tap the screen so I can make sure that you guys are here with me. It's about 60, just jumped up. It's about 60 of you guys in here. I should have at least 30 likes, so I know that you guys are hearing me. At least 30. Thank you, I appreciate it. I already have a mod right now, but I always tell people, if you would like to be a mod, stick around, hang out, answer questions, and then if you catch my attention or you catch my mod's attention, then typically we'll upgrade you. It's in the caption, I believe, but thank you. I appreciate that. Or in the description or something. I mean, you have to do like all these different things when you're setting up a live, so I think it's marked behind the scenes. Thank you, I appreciate it. 77 people in here, 18 likes. Okay, I see you guys. Some people have heard the trigger warning. Not everybody. I need at least half the ratio before we keep things going. I have everything out. Hold up, I'm gonna try to be quiet. My stoma is going off right now. I can't control it, so I typically like catch it when I hear it. It stopped. Thank you, Lala. I don't know, I'm gonna try to let you guys hear it. 23, okay, we're getting there, we're getting somewhere. Thank you. $24, okay. Some of y'all are hearing it, some of y'all are not. Or some of y'all probably haven't even clicked on the live. Y'all are watching it from like that little, what is it, like that in-between space on YouTube where you can watch something without clicking on it. You're messing it up for your friends. You might as well click on it and come on in, like the live. So I know you guys heard the trigger warning. Mod, if you want to drop it one more time, you can. So we can get started. Probably multiple, because right now I'm only going live. It was different when I was going live twice a week because I would typically see more people, but right now, since I recently started a new medication for my Crohn's, I am not tasking myself with the 2 lives a week. I'm only going live once a week, so you may have to give it a while. This is only my second live back. No, I do not. What's your name? Kaylaa. Yes, listen to the mod. We're at 70 viewers, 26 likes. I like for it to be, y'all keep jumping it up. I like that y'all are liking and sharing because more people are coming in, so I appreciate that. See, some people are clocking y'all. They're doing the work. They're in the chat. They're sending the likes. They're helping. Pull your weight so we can get this show on a road. No, I don't do any sports. I'm a writer. Hi. This year, I'm also going to try to be better about remembering people's usernames that are a repeat. I will say, while I do have some of you guys here, if you don't, okay, y'all really close. If y'all don't want to get ads during the stream, I have a membership. It's really cheap. I think it's about what, $5 a month, and you get to watch it with no ads, and you get special like membership perks and things like that where we can talk. Exactly. I feel like it's simple. I feel like it's really simple. Okay, we can get started. I feel like it's really simple though. Just to respond back to, let me turn on my brightness because I feel like I'm getting so close to the screen to read stuff. Give me 1 second. Okay, now I can see things better. I hope you're doing well, Diane. Just double tap, guys. No, I'm not. I don't even know what that is. Sorry. Sorry, babes. I've done everything on my end. I prepped it. I show you guys what I was using. I did all of it. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. All you gotta do is double tap the screen. Thank you. I feel like you're trying to get me to say something, but I'm smarter than you, so I'm not gonna do it. Nice try though. All right. I'm gonna cut y'all some slack. I'm gonna get started, right? If the views stay like this, we're good. I want more likes because it's 67 of y'all watching. I only got 34 likes, so that's a mess. That's a mess. And I'm gonna start doing community highlights too, like highlighting users that I see are really, really engaged and really, really active. But y'all not showing me y'all really want that right now. So I'm gonna get started. If I like the way things are, I'll keep answering questions. I'll keep kicking with y'all. We'll have a good old time. But if my viewerships jump up and my likes are still down, I may have to put it in super chat only mode. And I haven't done that in a while. It's been a while, really rusty. Y'all really getting my likes up. I love that. If we go in super chat only mode, what that means is y'all can still talk to each other in the lives. Maybe my mod will answer y'all, or maybe some people who have been in my lives before will answer y'all. But I will not answer your question unless it's super chatted to me. And I don't really like doing that because I just want to kiki and have fun with y'all. But this takes a lot of energy. And I have a chronic illness. I'm getting up here. I'm standing up and talking to y'all for probably about an hour, sometimes more than an hour. I've been up here for 2 hours before, just standing up and talking when I got things to do. And I'm probably tired already before I've done this. Like, I am exhausted from this new med. I've talked about it a little bit on my social media channels. But we want to keep this mutually beneficial. And that's the way we do that. Thank you. We ignore them, Cammie. We ignore them. I'm just making sure that I haven't missed anything. All right, cool. We're about to get started. We're going to use this adhesive remover spray to take this bag off. Again, y'all remember the trigger warnings? Let me see a heart in the chat if y'all remember the trigger warnings. Let me see it. I'm gonna give y'all a couple of seconds. Let's see it. Y'all remember the trigger warnings because I don't want anybody to be like, oh my God, what is that? What is that? What is that? I take vitamin, I take basically I take all of the ones that I'm prescribed. It's literally a side effect of a biologic is fatigue. There is no kind of complete power. There is no complete supplement that's going to reverse the side effects of your body getting used to a new biologic, unfortunately. But thanks, though. You got it? Okay, cool. Adhesive remover spray. We use this to take off the bag so that I'm not yanking off my skin. I don't think you'll really yank off your skin, to be completely honest. It's not that tough. But yanking like hairs on your body and just, it's like ripping off a Band-Aid. If you had a substance to make it easier to take off a Band-Aid, wouldn't you use it? This is what this does. I don't make a habit of going back and forth with people in my comments about like my medical treatment. All I will say is I have taken that before. And I hope that you can respect that. I appreciate leaving the comment, but I've taken that before. And my levels are fine. Adhesive remover spray. And typically, if you do this kind of slowly, the adhesive remover spray will leak down your stomach a little bit and it will help remove the rest. And I don't feel like making a big mess today. So let's wipe this up a little bit. And I'm gonna tuck this into that part that I couldn't see. And my mod is here for a reason. So she's giving y'all direction. So feel free, even if somebody asks a question and they come in, if my mod answers it, please. See? That's why I had this. I knew that I was going to do that. I had a feeling. I don't have a colostomy bag. I have an ileostomy. No, I didn't have a C-section. I have a similar incision, but it wasn't for the same reasons, if that makes sense. Let's give this a second, because if I start cleaning it up as this is happening, then it's just gonna make more of a mess for me. Ileostomy bag, I think I answered that. What happened? I have Crohn's disease. I have inflammatory bowel disease. Let's just put it that way. And at the time of my diagnosis, I tried a lot of different biologic medications. Those are the class of medications that typically are used to treat inflammatory bowel disease patients. None of them worked for me. So I decided to start getting surgeries in January of 2022. And now I have a permanent ostomy. That's a very simplified version. I always tell people every live I don't get into my full medical story just because it is very, very long. Very long. But I will say, if you guys want to hear that, stick around. Maybe my mind will change. But the best way to do that is if you want to hear the whole thing, is go look at my YouTube videos. Because they're up there. You don't have to feel sorry for me. I am in a lot less pain than I was before all of my surgery. I have a completely different life, a better quality of life, so you don't have to feel sorry for me. I appreciate it though. I always tell people one thing that really changed post getting sick was what I realized people kind of lead with. I think when you see somebody who is sick or going through a hard time, you tend to lead with sympathy. And that really doesn't help the situation. Empathy is great because I think empathy informs you in other situations. I'm sorry, I missed it. Do you still have the same thing you would do before? Do you still do the same things you would do before the surgery? Yes, I do. I still do the same things. Yeah. Nothing about my life has dramatically changed. I wasn't like a sporty person, so I didn't really have to figure out life within ostomy with various sports. Nope, this actually doesn't have any nerve endings, so I don't feel it. I feel it on my finger, but not on my actual stoma, if that makes sense. Because this has nerve endings. This doesn't. Did you ask if they can still do bowel surgery or bowl surgery? What kind of bowel surgery? I've had 6 or 7. 6 or 7. 6, 7. Is there a reason? No reason why. Responding back to Bean, there is no reason that they know of. I'm a believer that everything has a reason, but there's no reason why that they can directly pinpoint, well, some medications work for some people and some medications don't work. I will say my entire colon and rectum was inflamed. And it happened pretty fast. Florida, cool. No, it is not maple syrup. It's stool. I just probably ate something that had a darker dye in it, and it changes the color. Like if you eat something with red dye in it and you have no colon. No, I wasn't a candidate for you mean like a bowel transplant? Have I ever taken ibuprofen? Yes, but it wasn't like I was a chronic ibuprofen taker. Like an average, I was what? When I started noticing symptoms, I was like 16 or 17. I'm forgetting the exact number. So at that time, I was really only taking ibuprofen if I was on my period. They don't know the exact cost for Crohn's disease right now. Anybody that tells you they do know. But they have identified biomarkers, and we're hoping in the next however many soon, with continued research, if we're able to continue to put money into medical research, we'll know what these biomarkers mean. No, I can't make it get bigger or smaller, but it does get bigger and smaller, if that makes sense. It just naturally contracts and expands on its own. Nope, no kids. Don't want kids. I don't think if you ask a question and I miss it, feel free to send it again. I'll probably end up letting you know if I'm ignoring you. She's still going, so I'm trying to give her a minute. And the thing is, I haven't even eaten anything really. So I will try to time my bag changes, but I did eat something like right before, and I didn't think it was gonna make a difference. Maybe it did. I will probably have the average. Yeah. I don't really even. I was trying to figure out a way to answer that in the way that it pertained to the topic, but it. How can I help my daughter with breakthrough pain at home? She's on Stelara now. That's really, really hard. Honestly, I would say the best thing to always do is to consult a GI doctor, your GI doctor. Don't be afraid to get a second opinion. I know there's certain kind of like not over the counter meds. Those are basically Tic Tacs. You have IV, severe IBD. But I will say there are certain things that a GI can prescribe to help with cramping. That's the main thing. Cramping is going to be the main thing that you're going to be able to kind of get some relief sometimes. I will say, depending on the frequency of the breakthrough pain and how long they've been on a certain biologic, it wouldn't be abnormal to think about switching. You only have one one device? What does that mean? I'm confused. Have faith. Oh, one mod, yes. Yes, I only have one mod. Is there certain things I can't eat? It depends on the day. I've been on clear food diets. I was on complete bowel rest before with the pig line. I've done it all. I wouldn't say there's always somebody who's done it more than me. I've met a lot of IBD patients, but I have done a lot of things. Yeah, and that's typically Afia. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Winter and cold months are notoriously rougher. I would say it kind of depends. I would say extreme temperatures are usually rougher for IBD patients. I always have more joint pain when it's cold outside, but then there's other symptoms that I get when I'm really, really hot due to not having a colon and all the sweating. So that sounds about right, honestly. When I still had my colon and my rectum, and even when I only had my rectum, and even when I didn't have those things and was still going through just difficulties with inflammation, the only thing that would help with pain was being in the hospital on hard pain meds. Not eating, I would still have the cramping. My body would try to expel things that I clearly did not have inside of me. So sometimes there's different, I know certain patients that are on like a secondary med when things start to flare up for them. And then they stop that med when they started on a taper process, and it's not always a steroid. It can sometimes be any other kind of immunosuppressant. They started on a taper process and kind of taper out. Ileostomy. Thank you guys for the likes. We're gonna move on. I just want to make sure that my stoma doesn't start to go off again as I start cleaning it. For the flowers, I didn't see any flowers. Did I miss it? Man. Shout out to my top fans too, if you guys can still see that. I see Mayan, Max Stone, and Extremely Ethan in the top 3. Yep. That's also the case too, where prednisone is literally not that effective. I have been on, what was the highest milligram? I want to say I got to 80 milligrams. And it still wasn't doing anything. Thank you so much for subbing. I appreciate that. I never said I didn't feel strong. Trust me, if I didn't feel strong, I wouldn't be able to do this. I think you're new. Of course. I truly hope that your daughter is able to get some relief. Personally, Stellar didn't work for me. And I was on it for a while. My surgeon I was on it before my surgery, before I got my large intestine removed. Um, it is. So for anybody I'm answering one particular question, but for any new people, I have a stoma. My food travels through me like it travels through anybody else. But instead of going into my large intestine, then going through my rectum, and then coming out of my butthole, I no longer have a butthole. My butthole is sewn up. I no longer have a rectum, and I no longer have a colon. So my surgeon created a diversion through my abdomen because this is my small intestine. So food goes through my small intestine the same way it goes through your small intestine, and it just comes out, and it usually goes into this bag right here. I'm putting on a new one. This is the new one that I'm putting on. But I'm currently having an active moment because I can't control my poop anymore. You control your poop usually with your rectum. That kind of contracting and pushing happens there. I don't have that anymore. So my poop just comes out during the natural system. No one can control the way poop moves through their small intestine. I had a brain fart. I'm saying, okay. Thank you, Maud. Okay, this is sometimes what I don't like, and this is not me being rude, this is me being truthfully honest, because I don't want anybody to come into my chat who is also someone with a chronic illness, and there is someone trying to essentially police the way they feel about their situation. I think growing through the phases of chronic illness, you have the right to be absolutely upset, to be angry. You have the right to that. A lot of times in a lot of people's cases, especially when it comes to a disease like inflammatory bowel disease, when you're being diagnosed in adolescence, which is what I was diagnosed in, you didn't do anything to directly contribute to your situation. There was just something biologically, environmentally combined together, and it caused that situation to happen to you. Even if I was on here completely upset, mad, cursing, crying, no one has the right to come in here and tell me how I should feel. They can try to offer encouragement. They can do a lot of things, but you can't say, I have been through X, Y, and Z. I still feel good, so you should still feel good. Because I am not you, and you are not me. But I do feel good. I feel great. I've traveled the world doing ostomy and IBD awareness and advocacy. I've spoken on panels. I've hosted my own panels. I've been patient reporters. I have written articles about inflammatory bowel disease. I've participated in research. So I still feel really, really good. And I have a lot of optimism about the future of patients with inflammatory bowel disease. But even if I didn't, that's also okay. Thank you. Crohn's disease or inflammatory bowel disease, because we don't have time to get into the last 6 months. So basically, Afia, I wasn't responsive to any biologics. So I tried Entyvio, Stelara, Humira. I was on a rescue med called cyclosporin. I was on mesalamine for a bit, which is like another name for like Pentasa and those medications. I had tried all of those. I also had a period of complete bowel rest with the PICC line. I was on enteral nutrition for a while, so like clear drinks, the protein drinks, And I also was on triple antibiotic therapy in the hospital. None of those things worked. So in January of 2022, after trying to take me off a rescue medication and having all of my symptoms come back, we decided to start getting surgeries. So my surgery process was a J-pouch surgery at first. I went through all of those with complications. So like 3 surgeries turned into like 5 surgeries because of a lot of stuff that happened in between. The J-pouch ultimately started to not work in 2024. And I got the J-pouch removed and my permanent ostomy placed in May of 2025. She was... That's great. I'm happy. I'm happy that she's okay. We did cyclosporin as well. Yeah. Cyclosporin was an interesting medication. It was such an interesting medication. I hope you're doing well with your infusions. I don't have infusions anymore because I'm on a different med. But I was on infusions up until like November of last year. We're gonna start cleaning this, guys, because I think she's at a stopping point, hopefully. Now we're going to do adhesive remover wipe. I like to do this just to remove any kind of residue that will be on my skin before I put on the bag. Exactly. Lots and lots of hospitalizations. I've spent Christmas in the hospital. The first week of my senior year of high school, hospital. Had to come home from college. Hospital. Thanksgiving. Experienced one in the hospital. Sometimes your skin will get a little ashy after you use a adhesive remover wipe. That is okay. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. If you're still watching and you're new and you haven't liked, be sure to like. Also, if you enjoyed any bit of this, I am trying to go live again now at least once every week. It will be on a Wednesday. Typically I was going live twice a week, but I started a new medication at the top of this year, end of last year, and my energy levels are not the same. Therefore, we're easing back into things in 2026. One live once a week on Wednesdays. I'm going to experiment with the times a little bit. I like this time, but I'm trying to see if I want to go live a little bit later. Yeah. Yeah. You're welcome. And it's not easy. It's not easy being in the hospital advocating. I'm very fortunate enough to have had my mother who advocated for me probably the entirety of like the first, 2, 3, consistently for sure the first 2, because I was in too much pain. I couldn't do anything. I was 16, 17, 18. I was scared out of my mind. I was very depressed. My mom did all of it. And then eventually she had me like step into more things. And for the most part, I do a lot of my doctor's appointment stuff myself. Sometimes my mom still comes with me and I ask her like, did I miss anything? So it's definitely more of like a team effort now with me being more of like the captain. But at first I was doing nothing but crying and pooping blood. Yes, doing your own research, being very like there was times where, like say for instance, when I was on cyclosporin, it was still a relatively newer treatment. They used it, but there wasn't a lot online about how the treatment works versus now. If you go look up all the different biologics, you can know like, hey, you're supposed to be on it. You have an induction dose. You're going to be on it for like this amount of weeks, and you're going to do another dose, and then after 6 months, if you haven't had any response, you consider that a fail. Like you can find that information out about biologics, but at the time that information was not readily available about cyclosporin. I read the scientific study that they used to base the treatment on. I asked, hey, this the one you're using? Yeah, sure. This is exactly what they're doing for me. Okay, based on what the patients experienced around this time, this is what I'm experiencing. Especially, it's great to do those things when you're in the hospital because you're not always talking to your team. Sometimes you're not even talking to a gastro or colorectal team. So being very, very researched and genuinely knowing is very, very great. I even witnessed that now with being, 6 years, going on 6 years into my diagnosis. If I meet a new doctor, sometimes I have to sort of like prove to them that I know what I'm doing, and I don't go in there saying like, oh, I do this work for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, I've spoken here, I've advocated here. I don't go into those situations like that. I go in as a 22-year-old IBD patient who has been sick for this long, who's had any information that they can find in my chart is how I go into those appointments. And sometimes they will still try to tell you about what you've been through, which is very interesting. I'll just say that it's very interesting. Yes, ostomy bag. Thank you. I probably missed some things. Of course. Yeah, it's rough. It's very, very rough. Yes, it is. I think my skin is dry from the adhesive remover, so we're gonna go in with the skin barrier wipe. If you get your nails done, if you've ever done like press-on nails at home, that little wipe that you use to prep your nails before putting on the fake one is basically what this is like. You put this on your skin and it helps before you put on the new bag. Yes. Thank you guys so much. We've had some really good questions tonight. I really appreciate it. It can get a little crazy doing live streams, but y'all were very, very pleasant and present, but pleasant is what I meant. Now what we're gonna do, because I don't want to, if I don't hold this, because my stool was so loose today, it's gonna come out. But I am gonna move this and just use a wipe. To the person that asked what happened to you, my mod just answered you. I know some people ask about like, don't you have to wear gloves? No, you don't. Typically, you're only wearing gloves in hospital settings, and right after surgery, your nurse will use a glove in a hospital because you have wounds. But you don't have to use gloves once you get home. Just wash your hands afterwards, of course, before, of course. I mean, it's poop. If it didn't stink, that'd be an issue. In fact, if you have an odorless poop, you probably want to go make sure everything is okay. Just advice from me, you know? But who am I? This is a stoma. It's a little piece of my small intestine pulled through my abdominal wall. And they kind of do this thing. I'm going to cover it a little bit, y'all. Sorry. So that just in case I poop, it gets on there. They do this thing where they pull the intestine through the hole, right? And then they fold it back on itself and then suture around it under your skin, though. Kind of cool. Because when you're first out of surgery, you can kind of see everything. Charlie, do your own research, advocate, look into different insurance options and different options through the actual medication supplier. I will say if he is 4 years old, there could be some issues with him actually getting access to medications, because a lot of times these medications that he could possibly need, more than likely if he has Crohn's, he will need, they have not been FDA, I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, but this is just from my memory, this is what's coming up. They have been FDA approved for people under the age of like 12. So, if you need any kind of other resource, I highly recommend checking out the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation website. If you're a patient of color, even if you're not a patient of color, to be honest, color of gastrointestinal illnesses is also a really good resource. But yeah, I hope you guys have I don't want you guys to have any issues. I hope you guys have a smooth issue. It's a lot easier being sicker and being older sometimes because you can communicate how you feel and everything that's going on. So being 4 is rough. Of course. Yep. It's not painful. So this doesn't have any nerve endings. I can touch it. I don't feel the touch on the stoma. I feel the touch on my finger. And if you guys wanted to know how it feels like the inside of your cheek. Thank you, Hannah and Madeline. I don't think I missed anything. If I missed it, just resend it, please. Because I don't want to scroll all the way back. My throat is kind of dry, y'all. I have to use a light just to help sometimes. And this light is hot that I use. So it gets kind of hot. Of course. Thank you so much for sticking around, Wanda. I appreciate it. If you guys stuck around this long, make sure you're following me too. I am going to be posting more on my YouTube page this year, and really just, you guys will get vlogs, especially if you guys want vlogs, of course. I'm going to a lot of shows, so you guys will still get like the concert stuff. I love going to concerts. So I really want to show more of how that looks, especially I'm not going to be like in the pit like I was trying to do before, because 1, that's not very sustainable, and 2, around the time that I take my medication will be around the time I'm going to these shows now. I realized that a couple of weeks ago when I talked to my mom about it. So I will probably be doing more ADA situations, and I want to just show how that experience is as someone who doesn't have, I can wear a regular shirt, tuck my ostomy in my pants, and you guys don't know I have a chronic illness. So in some situations, my chronic illness is still invisible. I just wanted to show how that experience is. So those will still up there. Those will still be going on my page. Word salad, okay. But I'm going to be doing more talking videos too, where I'm talking about a specific topic extensively, because I just like doing that. I have inflammatory bowel disease, Ember. Yes. Thank you, Mom. My mom is usually on it before I even get a chance to see it, so that is awesome. Okay, we're going to do this relatively fast. I'm going to hold this for a second, actually, so that the skin underneath gets some time to dry, because you don't want to put this on wet skin. So give that skin under here some time to dry, and then we're going to switch this back relatively fast. Low waisted pants. They are fairly low waist. This is my waist. But I like to tuck it in the bottom. And it's still wet where I had the white tucked. I have inflammatory bowel disease. I tried a lot of different medications. They're called biologics, type of medications that people with inflammatory bowel disease typically use. Most of them did not work for me, and at the time, I was only rapidly getting worse. You'll realize a lot of things when it comes to chronic illness, people that have had other instances where they're able to do things and avoid surgery, I love that. I wish I was one of them, but I did not have time. For me, it was like, get the surgeries, or when you're going to be hospital bound, or things could get much worse to the point where you may have to halt on surgery and try to figure something out, and you're just going to be in more pain. So surgery was the best option. And I got started getting surgeries in January of 2022. At first, I was supposed to go through a J pouch process, but the whole surgery process was fairly complicated. I was only supposed to have 3 surgeries that turned into about 5 surgeries. And in the summer of 2024, my J pouch was inflamed. It wasn't responding to treatment. So in May of 2025, I got that removed. And I got my butthole sewn up. And now I have a permanent ostomy. This is what I tell people too. That's why we typically don't get into the full medical process, medical story process, and all of those things, because it is very complicated. What does what mean? You gotta act specific. I just had a bunch of mess. Not mess, but I just had a bunch of stuff. So the best way to get my medical story in a way that is easy to understand is to go watch my videos. Go subscribe, watch my videos. Because I literally get into it all. And there's a break between like a part of it, and I like jump scare back into the hospital after I got my Barbie butt surgery. And people that follow me, I remember like there being a response to that, like, oh my God. But I will tell you, the best thing to do is to be following me across my platforms, because I post on Instagram and TikTok a lot more frequently than I post on YouTube. Because YouTube is like a longer form thing. It's a little bit slower over here. Thank you. I appreciate that. I won't say that because that's shade. But thank you. Your username starts with the X. Thank you. It's a little piece of my small intestine pulled through because I have inflammatory bowel disease. Thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys are still here, make sure you're subscribed to my channel, because I go live every week. We're going to do more things as I get comfortable with streaming again, and I kind of see where my limits are. Like, I've almost hit an hour right now, and I don't know if anybody has been here for a while, you can see that my energy is going down because I'm getting tired. Thank you. Happy Wednesday to you too. Does it feel weird? No, because it doesn't have any nerve endings, so it doesn't feel anything. It feels like the inside of your cheek. If you're wondering, like, rubbing it, what does that feel like on my finger? Like the inside of your cheek. It's still a little bit damp. Thank you. I appreciate it. have a little spot of irritation in here. No, it doesn't hurt. All right, I think we're good. We're gonna slip the new bag on. And all you do is have to wiggle it into the hole on the bag and press. Typically, I like to have this more of an angle, but I'll fix that later. I like to have it going down this way so that it just flows into my pants. Yep, Wanda, and that's typically what happens. Typically what happens. But I appreciate you for sticking around. It's an ostomy. So there's a lot of different terminologies if you've been here for a while. The pink thing that's you guys just saw, that's a stoma. Because my stoma is made from my small intestine, that's an ileostomy. And you're just talking about having a pouch in general that's connected to your abdomen. It's an ostomy. Yes, give my mom some love. Thank you so much. It's your boy, LA. I appreciate that. And then as you can see, you can pull it and it's still on. And a lot of people ask, does it fall off? I've never had this part that's stuck to me come off my skin. Like just fall. And something that you can do, especially if you're having a day where you're really cold or not warm, because I've had those days, you can get a hair dryer and help on the edges. Or if you just need to do it really quickly, hair dryer on the edges. It helps it stick really good. Personally, I like to just give them a shower after it's stuck. After it's stuck, the edges are down. You get in the shower, the hot water helps stick it to your skin. Or I know some people that wear like compression things, and if you wear that and you have it compressed, typically that helps too. When did what happen to me? When was I diagnosed, or when did I get my surgery? We're going to clean up. It's still 44 of you guys in here. Thank you so much. If you stuck around, make sure you're subscribed. Like the live, make sure you're subscribed, because I go live every week. I was diagnosed in May of 2020, but I was having symptoms before that. I was having symptoms in 2019. Boom. Put that in the trash. Let's unfold that. If you guys have any last minute questions or just want to share your highlights, what you love the most from the stream, feel free to do that now, because we're going to wrap up in the next couple of minutes. I need to organize that. I say that every week and I never do it. A VR gamer, definitely go and check out some of my first couple of videos on my account, because I talk about what my symptoms were. We just don't have time to get into that tonight. We're about to wrap things up. So if the spot gets irritated, there's a couple of things that you can use. I don't know if I have them in here, because I don't need them that much, to be completely honest. There are these marathon sticks. They're kind of like a wand, and you break it, and they're like a liquid band-aid for your skin. I love those. I think those work the best, to be completely honest. And then if you don't have those, There's also ostomy powder, because typically you're getting irritated because there's moisture. And if you are having leaks like under the skin from poop getting on your skin, it's typically like a diaper rash. If a baby has a diaper on that has poop in it and is stuck on their skin too long, they're going to get a diaper rash. The same thing can happen with your stomach skin with your ostomy. So there's this ostomy powder that can help with moisture. But typically if you're having a lot of irritation, you'll go to your wound care nurse, and there could be some issues with the way you're applying your bag, or maybe my light just died. Maybe your appliance that you're using, because there's different kinds of appliances for different body shapes. Maybe that one isn't the best for you that you're using. Thank you. You have a great night too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think that was everything. Of course, if you guys have any other questions, feel free to go and leave them on a video, because I typically look at those notifications and respond to stuff, even if it's an old video. Also, when this live uploads, you guys can go and leave your questions there, or just let me know that you were here if you want to go into the community and be like, hey, I loved your live, or if you have any questions that I didn't get around to answering, feel free to leave those in my community tab. Okay, what advice would you have to those who are uneducated with foolish thoughts around an ostomy? The best thing you can do, because I think telling you that you're wrong is obviously the obvious thing to do, but I don't think that will get anywhere. Immersing yourself in ostomy culture, whether you're following your favorite ostomy creators, you want to listen into a support group, because typically a support group will not turn you away. There's a lot of online ostomy support groups. Immersing yourself in the worlds of different disorders that can lead to an ostomy, like colon cancer, like inflammatory bowel disease, like endometriosis. I think if you are fully talking to people with ostomies or patients with these diseases, and you are still a person with foolish thoughts, then something wrong with you, buddy, and you need to seek professional help. That's funny, Esteban. What is an ostomy? An ostomy is this thing. But yeah, I think that is all for tonight, unless you guys have any last minute questions. I have an ileostomy bag. Not an ostomy bag. I mean, not a colostomy. Colostomy. Okay, so this is my right side. Typically, excuse me, not in all cases, but typically a ileostomy is on your right side. Colostomy is typically on your left side. All right, I think we're good. I think I answered that. But I am going to wrap up. Again, if you have any last minute questions, feel free to leave them on any of my videos. Leave them on this post. Yeah, I don't do that. Leave them on this video once it loads, or also post them in the community. My community tab should be active, and you guys should be able to go in there and talk to each other, talk to me. If something isn't right, feel free to just comment it on a post that I've put up, and I'll see if I can troubleshoot that. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys next Wednesday around the same time. Thank you guys so much again. I had a lot of fun tonight. Make sure you're listening to your body, being kind to yourself, drinking water. You're doing the best that you can, and I believe that you're going to keep going. You're not alone. And I'll see you guys next week. Bye.